Right now at 6, a federal judge draws a hard line, limiting how federal officers can respond to protests at Portland's ICE building. Plus,
and I think that the administration is feeling the pressure from the public to act.
More on the growing frustration around a policy meant to penalize detention facilities.
Then, what's driving another round of potential budget cuts in Oregon's second biggest school district? And later,
I feel amazing. Feeling shape.
How the Blazers' star guard is gearing up for a long-awaited comeback.
But first, to breaking news in Canby and a live look here at what appears to be the aftermath of a gas explosion.
Witnesses say the ground shook just before 4:30 in an industrial and commercial area along Southeast 3rd Avenue south of 99E. The Kitty Hawk facility appears to be at the center of this response. According to its website, Kitty Hawk works on manufacturing parts for different industries. Authorities have issued a hazmat alert telling people in the area to evacuate. This includes a few medical and dental offices, and it's right next to a veterinary hospital.
Quite a substantial presence there if you look at all the flashing lights. Here are a few early images of the damage coming in. We should note the full extent is still becoming clear. We're also getting reports from residents who say they heard or felt the explosion. It's just a couple blocks away from a neighborhood and a school, though the Canby School District says it did not experience any impact. Thank goodness for that. Again, this is in Canby in an industrial area near Southeast Pine and 3rd. Of course, we will keep you updated as details come in.
Continue on to our top story with a federal judge ordering federal officers at Portland's ICE facility to stop using tear gas and other munitions on peaceful protesters. It comes just 3 days after hundreds of people in the blocks around the building, including children, were impacted by tear gas.
And as some city leaders express growing frustration when it comes to a plan to fine the facility's landlords. Let's get right to live team coverage, starting with investigative reporter Kyle Aboshi and the details of that federal order. Kyle?
Well, civil liberties advocates and the plaintiffs praised the judge's order as an important step to protect protesters' First Amendment rights. Portland's mayor also celebrated today's decision. The 22-page order from Judge Michael Simon restricts federal agents at Portland's ICE office from using less than lethal force against peaceful protesters and the media. Specifically, those federal officers can't fire tear gas, pepper balls, or other chemical irritants unless there's an imminent threat of physical harm to officers. The order also bans the targeting of the head, neck, or torso with less than lethal munitions. The temporary restraining order stems from a lawsuit filed last year alleging federal agents used excessive force against demonstrators and freelance journalists outside the ICE office. Among those sued, Richard and Lori Ekman. The Portland couple say they were injured after federal agents fired some type of gas or smoke during an October demonstration. For months, the site in Portland's South Waterfront has been the focal point of protests against President Trump's immigration crackdown. Last weekend, federal officers fired tear gas and set off flashbang grenades into large crowds of protesters who gathered outside the ICE building. In a statement, U.S. Homeland Security responded, quote, "The First Amendment protects speech and peaceful assembly, not rioting. DHS is taking appropriate and constitutional measures to uphold the rule of law and protect our officers and the public from dangerous rioters," end quote. The temporary restraining order runs for 14 days. So far, no word on whether the federal government will appeal.
Kyle Aboshi in the newsroom. Thanks, Kyle. Well, meanwhile, it seems a city council plan to fine the facility for using tear gas and other munitions at the ICE building has now essentially stalled.
Team coverage continues now with Celine Stevens live at the South Waterfront. Celine, what's going on here?
Christine, well, Councilor Angelita Murillo introduced the detention facility impact fee months ago. It's a fee that's supposed to be imposed on landlords that are renting to detention facilities, as well as those using chemical substances and that's impacting the surrounding area. But it hasn't happened yet. And she says it's because the mayor's office has been dragging its feet.
And I think that the administration is feeling the pressure from the public to act.
District 3 Councilor Angelita Murillo spearheaded an ordinance with the help of Councilor Mitch Green that passed back in December called the Detention Facility Impact Fee.
For example, ICE tear gassing a neighborhood. That creates environmental cleanup costs. That creates issues for the people who are living in the apartment buildings across the street. All of those costs are things that the city incurs.
That fee would apply to landlords renting or leasing to detention facilities. facilities. But so far, the mayor and city administrator haven't implemented the fee.
The executive branch needs to be doing investigation, data gathering. If I were the mayor, I would be instructing Portland Police to be gathering evidence about ICE misconduct, gathering evidence about the types of munitions that are going out, how much is going out.
The other part of the ordinance would fine landlords who fail to stop toxic chemicals like tear gas from impacting the surrounding area.
The nuisance aspect of the fee does apply right now. We have existing nuisance code at the city of Portland, and we need the executive to be enforcing that part while the fee rulemaking process is happening.
After this weekend's march that resulted in the use of tear gas, Mayor Keith Wilson released a statement Saturday saying the city of Portland is moving swiftly to operationalize an ordinance that went into effect this month, imposing a fee on detention facilities that use chemical agents. When it comes to a timeline, that's out of the councilor's hands, and something Murillo says she hasn't been kept in the loop with either.
If you can get that exact timeline from the mayor, I would love to hear about it.
According to Mayor Wilson's office, it's finalizing an enforcement framework and should be done by the end of the week for council review.
We had been working on this policy for 6 months prior to it actually passing, so the executive side was fully aware that this was coming up and that there was potential for passage.
Mayor Wilson's office denied the opportunity for an on-camera interview today. I did follow up to ask why the rulemaking was not completed within that 30-day limit, but I never received a direct answer. Instead, I was referred back to that statement that they released earlier this afternoon. Back to you.
All right, Celine Stevens on what appears to be a very peaceful South Waterfront this evening. Of course, stay with KGW as we continue to track immigration enforcement and the pushback to the president's policies and tactics in our communities and legal developments as well. You can find updates anytime at kgw.com or on our free TV streaming app, KGW+.
In your headlines, Portland City Council now has to decide what to do with an additional $21 million in unspent housing funds. This is on top of $21 million that was found last year. The money comes from the Portland Housing Bureau's Housing Investment Fund. Last week, Council approved an amendment to use previous money for rent assistance and affordable housing, with more changes possible Wednesday. Our Blair Best will have more on this story coming up at 6:30.
Tonight, the Multnomah County District Attorney is looking for more potential victims of a man suspected of multiple trailer thefts across the Portland metro. The county's auto theft task force arrested 35-year-old Nicholas Edwards January 15th after he allegedly led police on a chase with a stolen trailer in tow. Investigators say Edwards used this SUV to steal trailers, sometimes by going onto people's properties. It turns out they tracked his movements through a GPS ankle monitor he was ordered to wear following a previous arrest. But detectives say that didn't stop him from allegedly stealing upwards of 50 trailers dating back to 2022.
The fact that he's on GPS, the allegations of what we believe are that when trailers were stolen, he would oftentimes, or he's alleged to have stolen a trailer, taken a picture somewhere else, and then posted it very quickly online. So the turnaround time on stolen trailers was fairly quick.
There's even accusations he stole the same trailer twice. If you think you may have been a victim or purchased one of the stolen trailers, you're asked to contact the Multnomah County DA's office.
After 57 years in business, Music Millennium is looking for its next owner. Terry Courier, who's run the iconic Portland record store for more than 40 years, says he recently turned 70 and it's time to find a successor. Courier says he's turned down developers over the years and wants the building and Music Millennium to remain part of Portland's landscape for many years to come. He's looking for someone who's passionate about music to take over and says anyone interested should reach out directly. Joe, what do you have for us tonight?
Well, I have some dry conditions and very mild conditions heading into the next couple of days. You can kind of see some high clouds rolling in on the radar. We're not going to be seeing any threat of rain. There is some rain out there in the Pacific, but it's going to be pushing north up into the Puget Sound area and along the northwest side of Washington State here the next 24 hours or so. So as we look at your Wednesday day planner, waking up to temperatures in the mid-40s. There will be some patchy areas of fog, but look at those temperatures by the early part of the afternoon. 63 degrees. If you think that's warm for early early February. You're absolutely right. Now, we go past 60 degrees, we will be seeing record-breaking temperatures. Now, the record is 60 for tomorrow. And as we look at the future cast, you can kind of see some areas throughout the central and southern part of the Willamette Valley will be waking up to clouds. Those clouds stick around a good portion of the morning, but then we transition to a lot of sunshine for tomorrow, Thursday, and into Friday. We're not going to be seeing any threat of rain over the next few days. So as we look at your planner for tomorrow, expect to see some kind of mostly cloudy skies to start things off for your commute. But looking at the afternoon, nothing but sunshine. And not just tomorrow, Christine and David, could we be looking at record-breaking temperatures? That could be the case for Thursday into Friday. We'll talk more about our warm temperatures coming up in a few minutes.
Okay, thank you, Joe.